Quiet people aren't quiet because they have nothing to say. They're quiet because they're thinking in a way that doesn't need noise. And most people completely misunderstand that. If someone doesn't talk much, we assume they're shy or uninterested or awkward. But silence isn't absence, it's activity you just can't see. Think about the quietest person you know. In a group, they're usually the one listening while everyone else talks, not zoning out, not lost, watching the room, the tone, the way people react, what's said, and what isn't. Quiet people don't think out loud, they think inward. While others process by speaking, quiet people process by pausing. That pause gets mistaken for emptiness, but it's not empty, it's crowded. Here's what most people miss. Quiet people aren't slow thinkers, they're delayed responders. Their brain doesn't jump straight to output, it goes through layers first. Is this worth saying? Is this accurate? Does this add anything? What happens if I say it wrong? By the time they're ready to speak, the moment has usually passed. So they stay silent, not because they don't have thoughts, but because they have too many. Silence isn't their default, filtering is. This is why quiet people often get talked over. Not because they're unsure, but because they refuse to speak half-formed ideas. They'd rather say nothing than say something sloppy. That gets misread as insecurity, but it's usually the opposite. Quiet people don't lack confidence, they lack tolerance for meaningless noise. They feel pressure more intensely, they're aware of being watched, judged, misinterpreted. So their thinking becomes careful, not weak, careful. And that care creates depth. Quiet people often notice things others miss completely, shifts in tone, inconsistencies, unspoken tension. They see patterns before conclusions. But because they don't announce every thought, people assume they're not thinking at all. That's the irony. The people saying the least are often thinking the most. Quiet thinking also means ideas form privately, no validation while they're forming, no feedback loop, no reaction, just internal dialogue. That's why quiet people can seem distant. They're not disconnected, they're inside. But here's the downside. Living in a loud world can make quiet people doubt themselves. They see others speak quickly, confidently, loudly, and they start thinking, maybe I'm slow, maybe I'm boring, maybe I don't have anything valuable to say. But the problem was never their thinking, it was the environment. A world that rewards speed over depth, reaction over reflection. Quiet people don't lose ideas, they lose space. Space to think without being rushed, space to speak without being interrupted, space to exist without performing. When they get that space, they don't become louder, they become clearer. Quiet people aren't waiting to talk, they're waiting for meaning. So if you're quiet and you've ever felt invisible in a loud room, there's nothing wrong with your mind. You don't need to become louder. You don't need to become faster. You need environments that don't punish thinking before speaking. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's processing. And once you understand that, you stop trying to fix yourself for being quiet. If this felt accurate, like the video and subscribe. I'll see you next time.